January 19, 2002, a snowy Foxborough Stadium. John Gruden's Oakland Raiders faced the upstart New England Patriots in the AFC divisional round. On the sidelines for the Patriots, Bill Belichick, a head coach 8 games under 500 in his NFL career. With a minute 50 remaining, down 13-10, second-year quarterback Tom Brady has the Pats on the Raiders' 42-yard line. And then...
Lost the football. It's on the ground, covered by the Raiders.
The Raiders recover, seemingly sealing a victory.
The Raiders are 143 away from going back to the AFC Championship game.
Until an instant replay review invokes Rule 3, Section 22, Article 2, Note 2, also known as the Tuck Rule. The call is reversed. Adam Vinatieri kicks the Patriots into the Super Bowl, where they upset the Rams and kick off the greatest dynasty in NFL history.
It's good! And the Patriots are Super Bowl champions!
But what if?
All right, eyes up front, people. Today, case 100-1, the Tuck Rule. Exactly what would have happened in NFL history had the Tuck Rule gone the Raiders' way instead of the Patriots' way. What would have happened to the man now known as the GOAT, Tom Brady? Chucky, of course, you can't talk about the 21st century Patriots without touching on the arch rival, Peyton Manning. Let's also talk about the would-be juggernaut, St. Louis Rams. That's right, kids. They used to play in St. Louis.
Yes, they did.
Let's talk about the hoodie. What would have happened to the guy now acknowledged to be the best coach in the business?
Well, you know, at that time, he wasn't quite what he is today, right? So he's coming off a 5-11 season the year before. His first year with the Patriots, 5-11. Now, he gets him into that divisional championship round the next year against the Raiders. And if he gets bounced out right there, I still think him and Brady are still going to be joined at the hip, and they're going to go on an unbelievable run.
The Patriots are going to be Super Bowl champions again.
He'd already made the move away from Drew Bledsoe. Brady was going to be his guy. I think they still have phenomenal success. In fact, I think in 2002, when they're 9-7, they'll be so ticked off, the bad taste will be in their mouth, that I think they actually have a better year in 2002 than what they had, and they go to the playoffs that year.
But, Baldy, if they lose that game, they don't go to the playoffs the next year. That's 3 years in. And the Patriots, you go back and look at their history, look at the previous 2 coaches.
Yeah.
It's my honor and pleasure to introduce Bill Belichick.
Robert Kraft might say this, here we go again. 3 years, you had your shot, it doesn't happen.
It's his hand-picked guy right there.
No, but it's 3 years in with nothing.
Yeah, but he's got a brand new quarterback in Brady. He's made the move.
Well, we can get to that later, but I'm not so sure that Bledsoe, that's over at that point in time if they lose that game.
I think if you
this
go
is
back,
not the Tom Brady we know now. This is
But if you go back to Belichick in '96 when they go to the Super Bowl with Bledsoe. Like, I think he'd already said, this guy he doesn't have the big moment gene in him.
Rolls to the right. Now he's going to have to run at the 20, 25, 30. Oh, and knocked out of bounds right at the stick. I'm not sure he's going to get up on this one.
When he made the move after the Mo Lewis hit to Bledsoe to go to Brady and then didn't go back to Bledsoe when he was healthy, he'd already seen enough of Bledsoe.
That Patriots team at the turn of the millennium was not based around 12's powers. It was based around the defense. It would not have been a hard move. Yes, by the time they play that Super Bowl, everybody in the locker room besides Drew Bledsoe, from the guys I've talked to, said, oh, yes, everybody understood it was Tom Brady's team.
I said I was going to get you there.
But if he loses that divisional round game, the idea that in a league where money plays, that they would turn their back on Drew Bledsoe, who they were into a ton of loot for, to go to the kid who hadn't done anything really at that point in his career other than lose a playoff game to the Raiders, is a little bit of a jump. I think that he goes back to the franchise QB.
He coached Mo Lewis. I mean, this was all designed to take him out. Come on.
Hold on. Throw a flag on that. I want to get Cynthia's thought on this because this is the headline after that game. It's Patriots pull off the miracle. If they fumble that football and they don't win that game, what's the headline after that game?
Well, here's the headline. This is less than 0.1%. So from 1999 to 2013, when the Tuck rule was officially active, you had 4 instances of it over like 3,273 games, something like that, right? That's about 0.1%. That's how many times this was actually enforced. So when you talk about it being a miracle, you are talking about something that is so completely
more than a miracle.
Unlikely that you could more easily get struck by lightning, and this is a very, very tiny number.
It's generous of you to use the word miracle. It was also a bad call. It shouldn't have been made, and the Raiders should have survived that.
Not
You're
just
right.
a bad call. They're saying it was the. In fact, there's a manual right here. The NFL's bad, like the worst calls in history. And right here, it's right here in the manual.
And Baldy,
it's
that
right
was,
here in the manual.
That
The
was
worst
taken,
call of all time.
And that was taken at the turn of the century because it's a little thicker now.
Yeah, it's grown a little bit.
It's a little thicker now.
Yeah.
But DJ is right. Belichick is not now 6 Lombardis into his career. He's Bill Belichick, the defensive coordinator who you could make a case benefited from working under Bill Parcells.
Look, the main thing for Belichick that would be different would be he wouldn't have de facto general manager power if it weren't for the Tuck rule, right? I don't know if he would be the
gives
one.
him cachet.
Yeah, it gives him this cachet and this ability to select players that not all coaches, most coaches, in fact, don't have.
The Patriots and Raiders making it official. Oakland sending disgruntled yet talented wide receiver Randy Moss to New England for a 4th-round draft pick.
I just think it's interesting when you look at the 2 pictures up there. I mean, look, we all know where Belichick is now. But if this doesn't happen, people forget, this was the coach.
You accomplished something today that not a lot of teams get to taste. And you better like the taste, guys.
Yeah,
everybody was enamored.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Had been more successful. What does that do for John Gruden?
I mean, do you think about this? Like, when did Al Davis make the move that he was gone?
It was right after that.
It was a month later. It was a month later.
As soon as he didn't challenge that Tuck rule.
Right.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an ancient. All right.
Like, Chucky might still be there. He might still be in Oakland. He might never have gone to Tampa.
Baldy, look, this is the kind of the iconic picture, right? After
Yeah.
that. Now, what if that's John Gruden and that's Rich Gannon?
Yeah.
How does that change all that?
Well, I mean, what you have to remember now, though, this is just the divisional championship round. They still got to go to Pittsburgh. I mean, there's still a lot more football to be played.
Yeah, we're coming, baby!
The Patriots have shown up here today and will take the field against the Steelers.
In Pittsburgh would have been a 2.5-point favorite, which is a significant difference than a 10-point favorite when it comes to what actually happened. So that win, that margin would have been completely different and shifted in that favor. And then if you take that on, okay, Oakland versus the St. Louis Rams, it would be the Super Bowl if Oakland then got past Pittsburgh in that one. I have, for me, 66.3% for the Rams in that one. So the improbability of this entire run would be so huge.
Okay, so DJ, hold on for a second. Let me grab this picture right here. All right, this guy right here, I'm glad you brought his name up, Rich Gannon. So let's go through the scenario that we just laid out. The Raiders, they go to Pittsburgh. Chucky and his gang, they go to Pittsburgh. They win this game. Then they go to the Super Bowl, upsets aside, they knock off the Rams. Baldy, he ain't leaving. That's what I'm saying. Al Davis is not trading him.
I'm thrilled to be here, and all I can guarantee is a lot of hard work and effort in trying to put the Tampa Bay Buccaneers into championship form.
So he doesn't go to Tampa.
You guys are champions. Congratulations.
If John Gruden's on that sideline with the Raiders instead on that sideline with Tampa, he wins back-to-back Super Bowls.
Oh, no, he does not. This is where we're going to draw everything back to this guy. So let's say Tampa Bay with Tony Dungy. John Gruden goes to face Tony Dungy and that defense. Sapp, all those guys. Maybe this guy gets a little rattled in that Buckball game. Tony Dungy ain't here. So the greatness of Peyton Manning, now, does he thrive because he's Peyton?
I'm looking up at this board, and it finally just hit me that we think about all the success that Bill Belichick's had, and you say it couldn't be better than that. But what if he did? What if he did get blown out? And we were talking earlier, well, Peyton Manning, you know, we got to get Tony Dungy, a defensive guy.
That's right.
What if this guy right here ended up with this guy? They might have won 10 straight Super Bowls with that offense and Bill Belichick. Are you kidding me?
I like it. Yes.
Belichick and Manning. Oh God.
We've talked so much about all these teams that were gonna go beat these Rams.
Well, the pass is intercepted. Picked off. Touchdown. Tyler. There
is only one defensive mind in all of football that was going to vanquish that Rams offense, and it was that guy right there. Outside of that, if they don't get to this Rams team, I think as much as I like the Raiders, I think this Rams team beats anybody that's not led defensively by him.
It goes from being the greatest show on turf to a true dynasty.
That's right. 2 out of 3 years they have the Lombardi, and that's right.
And they have all the pieces. They've got all the pieces
doesn't
here.
go to the Giants. Kurt Warner stays, but he doesn't have to wait to get into the Hall of Fame. He has 2 rings. He's automatically kissed in as soon as he retires. Forget Tom Brady. We might be talking about 13 as one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks of the Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
You are special.
All right, guys, we established with the Rams, obviously a big winner in this thing. I don't think anybody other than Bill Belichick beats him in that Super Bowl. So if Tuck doesn't happen, we get the Rams, they win another Super Bowl. I think the question is, I mean, are they the Los Angeles Rams, or are we still talking about St. Louis Rams?
They're the LA Rams just because, like you said, the money wasn't there. The stadium was outdated. This has nothing to do with their success, because they still had success. They were still an entertaining team, and then they hit the skids. But the fan support never waned. I'm from St. Louis. I had friends I went to school with who never missed a game, season ticket holders. So the fan interest didn't wane until it was clear that they weren't going to get the stadium, and they were out the door. So they are still in LA. They just got one more chip.
Can I do the most like I'm looking up at this board?
Yeah.
And the most random connection. This is almost outside of what you see on the field. Okay, so let's say we established that he has more success there. He doesn't get traded to Tampa. He stays there. So he stays with the Raiders through this entire time. You know where he's not? He's not in the Monday Night Football.
No.
You know who ends up getting that job?
Kurt
Warner. Literally, you could pull this whole thing together in so many different ways.
So, if the Tuck rule doesn't happen, John Gruden's Raiders go on to play in the Super Bowl, and he never leaves Oakland. Kurt Warner's place in history changes as he wins at the very least 2 Super Bowls in St. Louis. Bill Belichick goes back to veteran Drew Bledsoe before he's fired and ultimately partners with another quarterback to build a dynasty in Indianapolis. As for the quarterback he'd leave behind, hard to bet against Tom Brady, but the falling dominoes would have written his legacy in a very different manner.
Case closed.